What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. The Black Friday is finally over, together with all the black weeks and black days and cyber weeks and all that, and with it also my bank account. Jesus, yeah, I might have gone over the top on this Black Friday. It was just one of those years. Now, not everything has arrived. I'm still waiting for the last and probably the most important component of everything I shop for, and that is my PC itself. But I can already talk to you guys about all the things that arrived and how the PC configuration looks like. When the PC arrives, I'm gonna be doing a separate video talking about it, go more in depth about it, and I will also be revealing all the prices for everything I list today. But until then, I am curious to see at the end of the video, after I've listed all the things that I bought for my YouTube channel, if you can guess the amount that I've paid for everything in total. Leave it in the comment section below. I'm very curious to see how close you guys can get. Again, in the next video, when the PC arrives, I will be sharing also the cost of everything. So let's see which one of you is gonna get closer to the actual number that broke my bank account. So let's get straight to it. Now, the first thing that has arrived is actually one of the least important ones, and that is the keyboard and the mouse for my PC. I'm saying the least important is because I don't really believe that the keyboard or the mouse is gonna have any effect on anything you do with your PC, whether it's gaming, work, or otherwise. You can relaxingly work or play games with the cheapest keyboard out there and the cheapest mouse. So when people are talking to me about paying hundreds of dollars for the best keyboard or the best mouse, I just personally think they're complete morons, because I don't need a keyboard that can cook me dinner. I buy an oven for that. So if a keyboard does what the keyboard should do, which is when I press a key, it delivers that information to my PC, then I'm very happy with it. Now, the reason why I still went and bought a new keyboard and a new mouse is when it comes to the keyboard, is specifically because I have a German keyboard. The computer I'm currently using was gifted to me, and because I live in Germany, obviously the things I've got were German and the keyboard itself was German, and there's only that many times you want to press Y so you can see a Z in the text and press Z so you can see a Y, until you get sick of it and you buy yourself a keyboard in English. So let's look at what I've got myself. For the keyboard, I have a SteelSeries Apex 3 RGB keyboard. I must say, nothing fancy. The pricing is also not nothing to break your bank, and it does pretty much what it's supposed to be doing. It is a gaming keyboard, so the right side of the keyboard, which has the num keys, is not there. In all fairness, in all my 20 years that I've been playing or using a keyboard, I never used that side of it, so I really don't miss it. The keyboard itself, besides the typical keys you're gonna find on any keyboard, has also a volume scroll and a play and pause button, which in all fairness does have its uses. It's really useful when you're watching videos on YouTube or anything and you just need to tweak the volume very fast. It's right there for you. Now, again, you don't need it. You can adjust the volume differently. You can also set your mouse to adjust the volume. You can do so many other things. So this is why I don't feel like a keyboard deserves big investments. It is an RGB keyboard. The reason why I went for an RGB keyboard is because it fits the PC setup that I've made. You're gonna see what I mean when the PC arrives. The one interesting thing about this keyboard is the way the keys are pressed. For any OG gamers that have been using PCs for a very long time, you're gonna know how the keyboards used to feel like when you were pressing them. Like, it's literally the typewriter type of feeling when pressing a key, because it goes so deep. So if you play on a laptop, for example, and you know you can slide your finger on the keyboard, well, on this one you can't. Once your finger gets in a key, you cannot go to the next one. So you need to get used to actually lifting your fingers when you go from one key to another. Definitely not something I would advise anybody to buy if you never used one, because you're gonna find it completely strange. But for me, being, well, relatively old, I am still 34 years old, it is something that I'm very used to, and I actually prefer it, considering I am planning to use this keyboard not just for gaming but also for my work. And it just feels way more satisfying when you press a key and it just feels like you actually pressed it, and it's much harder to press different keys afterwards. I don't know, it's just a feeling thing. Again, it's not for everybody, but I personally love it. And the last thing I want to add to the keyboard is the fact that it's waterproof. This is something that I was looking for, considering I have a big talent of just putting all my drinks on the desk. My old keyboard have seen a lot of cola, a lot of water, a lot of tea, so having it waterproof kind of makes me feel a bit better every time I'm gonna be doing that. With that said, let's skip to the next item that arrived, which is the mouse. Now, again, the same as with the keyboard, I don't think that you need to invest a lot of money in a mouse. The previous mouse that I had was a Razer, and in all fairness, there's nothing wrong with it. I even bought it specifically for use, and I'm happy with it. So why did I need a new mouse? Well, this Black Friday I just went in fulfilling all my childhood dreams, and this mouse is one of them. And the mouse in question is a MadCatz R.A.T 6 Plus series. Since the first version of the MadCatz R.A.T mouse came out, I was baffled about it. I was baffled about how customizable the mouse was, how it looked, and like everything about it was something that I want in my life. But that was a long time ago, and I would definitely couldn't afford one back then. So it was just one of those dreams that you will never have but wish for. Well, now I have it. So I don't care if I don't need it, I just want it, and now I have it. And I must say, even though practically it doesn't do anything to me, I love it. Like, the mouse is so nicely done. The first thing about it that I love is the weight. Having a heavier mouse really makes the feeling much better when you move on the mouse pad, and it doesn't feel like your hand just flies away with the mouse. The weights on it are customizable, so you can make it as heavy as you prefer. Second of all, the design itself is very low on the mouse pad, so it just doesn't let your mouse roll from left to right. It just sits perfectly, and together with the extra weight on it, it just feels awesome to use. You have a lot of buttons, obviously everything customizable with its own software. When it comes to the LEDs, again, customizable, but it doesn't go crazy on the LEDs. And in all fairness, I'm not a big LED fan, so I really don't care. I find it perfect as it is right now. The mouse also comes customizable with its length, so you can change the length depending on the size of your hand. This is actually something very important when you buy a mouse, especially if you buy it online and you just see the pictures. You never know exactly how big the mouse is and how that shape is gonna fit in your arm. Well, with the MadCatz R.A.T series, you can adjust the length of it to fit perfectly to the size of your hand. What else do we have there? The mouse is also called the cheater mouse. That's because it has a left side button that you can press, and it slows down your DPI. In English words, it makes your cursor move much slower. So if you are playing a shooter game and you want to move very fast and react very fast, you can use that button for when you aim. Pressing the button is gonna slow down the speed of your cursor, and therefore make aiming much easier, and this is why it's also called a cheater mouse. Overall, the mouse is amazing, and I'm very, very happy I have it, but again, not worth the money. Still, let's move on to the next one, and the next one is a much bigger one. and that is my new monitor. The reason why I wanted a new monitor is simply because of the PC I bought. I had an idea of what I want in the PC, and pretty much everything else was just there to make everything work as it should. So if you invest a lot of money in a graphic card, for example, that can give you 4K 8K resolution with the high FPS, and you don't have a 4K monitor, then you're not gonna see 4K. You understand what I mean? It doesn't matter what your graphic cards gives your monitor as information. Your monitor just shows you how much the monitor can show. So this is why I went for a new monitor, because I wanted to have a 4K monitor so that the graphics that come out of my graphic card are actually shown on the monitor. And obviously I went for a gaming monitor. It's a Gigabyte series 4K monitor with 1 millisecond reaction time and 144 megahertz refresh rate. And I must say, when I've received the guy, even though I've seen the pictures and I could imagine how it's gonna look like, I didn't think it's going to be that massive. Jesus Christ, when I've seen the box I was like, what the hell am I doing? Because my desk is actually not that big, and this monitor just makes it even worse because it looks even smaller now. Like when you sit on the chair and you look at what's in front of you, to see the sides you actually need to turn your head left and right to be able to see the entire screen, which is amazing when you're playing open world games and you just see all the graphics, but it is something that you need to get used to. Now, I'm not sorry about it. It's amazing, especially now with the contrast that it has, the colors that it has. So besides being a perfect gaming monitor, it just looks amazing. So I'm really happy with it. I've also had a good offer for it, so definitely worth the investment. And again, because of the graphic card I went for, I needed a 4K monitor to represent all the graphics that come out of the PC. So this one is the much bigger investment in the entire thing. Now, actually more expensive than the monitor is the new addition to my YouTube channel, which is my new VR set. And I'm saying new addition is because I want to bring you guys into the VR world with some new content. I want to show you all the experiences I have as a noob in VR, because even though I have a good idea about VR, I did use stuff like Google Cardboard VR and a very cheap headset. But I must say, the Oculus, even though it's not one of the best, even though it doesn't have the most amazing specs, it's just next level compared to what I remember VR being. And that's also something that I think a lot of you guys can relate to, because everybody knows what VR is. It's not some magical new technology that nobody knows how it functions. But until you experience, or when you experience it, is a totally different thing. Like before I bought this, I did do a lot of research about what's the VR stand right now in the gaming industry and the technology industry. And as many videos you're gonna watch on YouTube about VR, it's just never gonna compare to the experience you have when you use it. And the gaming industry in VR has developed so much since last time I remember. I'll be glad to show you guys my new experiences playing those games, and they will be coming soon. I just need the PC to arrive also, because I cannot play any PC VR until I have a PC to run it. Now, I did go for the Meta Quest 2 VR set. I was choosing between this one and the Pico 4. Considering I'm European, Obviously the Pico 4 would have been a better choice simply because it has a bit better spec than the Quest 2, and it was actually at a better price than the Quest 2. The reason why I still went for the Oculus Quest was simply because it has a much bigger coverage when it comes to games, when it comes to apps. A lot of the programs are already familiar with the Quest 2, where the Pico is still new in the industry. So even though the headset itself is better than the Quest 2, because you don't have all that access as the Quest, that's why I went for it. But whether you go for the Pico or the Quest, trust me guys, you definitely want to get in VR, because it started, the world in VR is getting bigger and more complex. The variety of games is outstanding, and the experience is nothing compared to everything else. And if you're worried about things like space in your room for VR gaming, my room is as small as you can get small. You can definitely play VR games as complex as possible, even with just enough space to sit around. So I will definitely be doing a lot of videos with gameplay in VR, giving you a first-time experience from a noob, because I'm also still a noob. I'm still getting used to everything. I've barely tested the headset and the controllers, and I must say it's hard to be a noob. But this is exactly what I want to show you guys, how it feels to first time have that experience, how it feels to first time check out those games and those apps in VR, and maybe get you guys to join into it, or just enjoy watching me go through that experience. Now with the Quest 2, I also went with a few extra accessories that from my research I do believe they are quite necessary if you want to have a nicer experience with it. First of all, I went for a link cable, as the cable that comes together with your Oculus is, I think, 1 meter long. So if you want to use it in the center of your room away from your PC, you can't. So that's why I went for a 5 meter cable, which is more than enough for where I'm currently sitting when I'm playing my VR games. And second of all was the head strap. I wanted a new head strap, not because of comfort necessarily, but mostly because of the extra battery that comes with it, as I am planning to record a lot of the gameplay, and that's just gonna take more and more out of the battery of the Quest. So it made sense to go for that new head strap with the extra battery.